Hi everybody, welcome to week 3. I think week 3 is when things start to get real. We have our first milestone due this week, and if you're not excited, I am. It's always fun for me to see what students come up with, and it just makes grading interesting. So I wanted to share with you a few tips that I think might be helpful, just based on my experience with students in the past, some common mistakes that they make, and some ways that you can kind of hopefully avoid them. So this week, like I said, you're creating an infographic, and I'll share some resources for you, additional resources to what's already posted in the module that you can use to help you build your infographic. So those should hopefully get you started. But there are a few things that I just want to kind of draw your attention to. Infographics seem like such simple texts, and they are really. I mean, there's not a lot going on in them, but there's a lot of information conveyed. So to kind of find that balance is the tricky part. It's challenging to make them. It's really quick and easy and fun to read them, but it's really challenging to design an infographic that gets your message across in a very succinct, cogent way. So that's the goal. So just a few things to think about. When you make an infographic, it's very similar to giving a speech or writing a paper. You want to have an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. I know that your space is a lot shorter and it looks a lot different than a paper with paragraphs, but if you think of it that way, I think it will help you kind of organize things a little bit more smoothly. So you want to have an attention getter at the beginning for your introduction, just like you would in a speech, something to draw people in. This can be an image, a snazzy short title. I do find students like to make kind of long sentence-like titles, but that's a little bit much. So the shorter you can keep the title, the better start you'll be off to. Other ways you can do the introduction, or other things you can include in your introduction, are things like a thesis statement. And that sounds really rigid, maybe too rigid for an infographic that's supposed to be kind of fun and lighthearted. But the idea is that you have the point of the infographic highlighted in the very first few sections, however you have your infographic broken up, so that people are clear about why this information is important to them. This is also an opportunity to identify your audience. So I know who your audience is, you hopefully know who your audience is, but you need to kind of name your audience in some way, or imply who is impacted by this infographic, so that the reader will know how it pertains to them and if they are part of the audience that you're targeting. The body will contain main points, just like a speech or text would, the main ideas that you want to convey, or the 3 pieces of information that Milestone 3 has written out in its guidelines as a requirement. So that's something to think about. And you can organize those in all different ways. Again, use pictures to illustrate main points if you can. That's a really easy way to translate your textual press release into this more visual, interactive version. And then you'll need to have a conclusion or a closing section. So don't just end with your last main point or your last piece of information that you want to share with your audience, but really have a closing of some sort. Wrap it up, tie it up. And an easy way to do it, and something that you should include anyways, is a call to action. So this is a great way to conclude your infographic. What do you want people to do with the information that you've supplied them? Why is it relevant? How do you want them to act? And this can be something as simple as saying, now visit our website at www.whatever for more information. That's a call to action. So something as simple as that. Maybe you want them to donate money. Maybe you want them to distribute this infographic on their social media, and so you put the little icons for Facebook and Pinterest and Instagram and whatever. That's also a call to action. So that's another great way to end your infographic that I think is really powerful and really gives it that persuasive element that it really should have in this day and age if you're going to be meaningful as people share it and spread it around. Okay, and then the last thing I just wanted to point out is that your infographic should tell a story. Every milestone you submit this quarter should tell a story. And telling a story is a lot different than just relaying facts or giving us a list of things. It's really adding in the connective tissues to kind of mesh these ideas together. So I've seen this done in a lot of different ways, but I encourage you to imagine how you can use images to tie these ideas together in your press release. Yeah, this is the challenge, right? Therein lies the challenge for infographics, is to tell a story in a short amount of time that maybe plays on people's emotions or plays on their sense of logic or character. So I'll be here to help you brainstorm. I don't want to go into too much more detail on how to tell the story because there are so many different ways to do it, and I don't want to limit you. So use your creativity. Just be sure that you're telling a story. Okay, I think that's pretty much it, my tips for infographics. I have a few more that I've posted on the discussion board in my own thread. Ideas on how you can organize your infographic based on spatial patterns or chronological patterns. Those are available for you to use. In fact, you should probably choose one. There are a lot of options. And then I also posted something on how text and images interact based on what we know about how verbal and nonverbal communication interact. So it gives you some opportunity to think about how your text will mesh or not mesh with your images. So that kind of gives you something to play with as you produce your infographic as well. So as always, I'm here to brainstorm. This is supposed to be kind of fun, right? So I hope you enjoy this process, and just know that I'm here to brainstorm if you need me. So happy week 3, and I look forward to seeing what you all come up with. Bye-bye.